So I've been getting a lot of inquiries from people who are asking for my help because they've been put on a performance improvement plan. And I've done several videos about performance improvement plans. And I've explained more than once that when you get put on a PIP, it's because your employer is intending to fire you. It's not because they want to help you improve your performance. It's because they want to document that you are a low performer, or you have a performance problem, so that they can get rid of you and not have to deal with any allegations of discrimination. So if you feel that your employer has been discriminating against you, and then they put you on a PIP, or if you've never had any problems and you raise allegations of bias or mistreatment or bullying or anything like that, and then you get put on a PIP, that's a huge red flag, right? But any reason that you get PIP is indicative of an intention by your employer to fire you, and you should be then thinking strategically about how to exit that job on your own terms, because that's the intention. You should not be thinking that there's anything that you can do that's going to result in your staying, right? But the other thing is, the time to raise allegations of discrimination most effectively is when they happen and when it's clear to you that it's taking place, not when you get put on a PIP. Because once you get put on a PIP, yes, you can raise these issues, and I have helped people raise these issues successfully and still cash out, but it does make it more challenging. Why? Because they have now created a narrative that they're going to push forward that claims that it's about your performance. And so you then have to overcome that narrative by showing that more likely than not, the reason you're on the PIP is in retaliation for raising a discrimination claim, or is related to some type of bias, if in fact that exists, right? And so, but you have to then overcome the argument that no, it's really about your performance. And so I would urge people, if you know and believe that you are being discriminated against work, and you have experienced discriminatory treatment in your workplace, you've experienced being treated differently in your workplace, if you notice that certain groups of people that don't look like you are given certain benefits and treatment that better than people that look like you, or you specifically, you should be documenting those things, and you should be creating a strategy to address those things. You shouldn't be waiting till you get on a PIP, right? Now, of course, if you, in the course of raising those issues, get put on a PIP, then you are able to use an argument that claims that the PIP is actually retaliatory, right? But what I'm saying is, don't wait until somebody puts you on a PIP to all of a sudden discover that there's discrimination in your job. You're not well positioned to raise these concerns if you wait until you get put on a PIP to raise them. And you need to understand the difference between being put on a PIP in retaliation for raising allegations of discrimination versus being put on a PIP and then deciding you want to raise issues of discrimination. In one case, you're better positioned, and in the other case, you're not. And so I really want people to understand that coming to me or anybody, or even going to a lawyer or whoever you want to go to say, well, you know, I got put on a PIP and I think it's for discrimination. Can you explain what the discrimination is? Well, I just think my boss doesn't like me. Can you show that your boss is treating you differently than anybody on my team? Well, not really. Then you're not going in the right direction if those are your answers to those questions. And too many times people wait till they get put on a PIP, and then all of a sudden they start thinking about all these different things that happened to them at work that they never thought about before, right? Now that again is not to be confused with, you've been noticing differential treatment, you've been documenting it, and you went to HR and raised it, and then all of a sudden you got put on a PIP. You'd never had any performance issues. Your manager has always told you did a good job. But then when you raise the concerns about either what you experienced or what you've witnessed, you got put on a PIP. That's different. That's retaliatory. One could make an argument. However, if you don't have any of that, And then you get put on a PIP because your manager says you're not doing your job well. And then you start thinking, oh, well, I don't like being put on this PIP. I think maybe this is discriminatory because I'm black, or because I'm a woman, or because I have a disability, or whatever your protected class might be. But you can't show very clear differential treatment in your workplace, you're less likely to be successful. So if you know that there is differential treatment happening in your workplace and that it's having a discriminatory impact and that you believe it's tied to your membership in a protected class, don't wait to get put on a PIP to be documenting those issues and even creating a strategy to raise them with HR and going to HR. Yes, there's a risk that after you raise them, they may try to put you on a PIP. However, you're better positioned to make an argument that the PIP is actually in retaliation for you raising those concerns if you'd raise the concerns first, rather than if you wait till after you're on the PIP to raise any concern whatsoever. So I want to clarify that this is something people need to be aware of, right? Obviously, if you can show a pattern of discrimination in your workplace and that you're being subjected to different treatment and it's detrimental and you believe it's based in your membership in a protected class, you should raise those allegations whenever you want to raise them. But you're better positioned if you raise them outside of the PIP process. Now, yes, you can overcome a PIP, and I've helped people do that, if you can show that it's in retaliation for you raising concerns, or you can show legitimately that there's a pattern and that putting you on a PIP is part of that pattern. But you have to be aware that once you get put on a PIP, raising issues of discrimination are harder to overcome and be successful. When I say that, is it's harder to then make an argument that your manager is discriminating and has nothing to do with your performance and that they should just pay you to leave, than if you're able to show, one, that it's in retaliation for you raising issues relevant to discrimination or other wrongdoing in your workplace, or two, that the PIP is part of a retaliation or discrimination, example of discrimination. But if you can't tie those things together, it's going to probably make it harder for you to be successful if your goal is to cash out of your workplace. And I wanted to make this video to clarify that, because I have a lot of people that are coming to me about PIPs and they haven't made the connections, and they want me to be a magician. And I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a magician. I'm not clairvoyant. I can't read the mind of your employer. And I am not a magician. I can't tell you, that this is going to be what you want it to be just because you want it to be that, right? You have to have the documentation. You have to be able to show that you are being treated differently in your workplace. In fact, that you are being discriminated against. Not that you have a feeling, not that your manager doesn't like you. Your manager doesn't have to like you. Your manager not liking you is not discrimination. Your manager not liking you because of your membership in a protected class and treating you differently because of it, that's discrimination. And so if you get put on a PIP, you need to be able to show that what's in the PIP has no basis in truth, and that in fact it's a part of an ongoing discrimination that you might be experiencing in your workplace, or it's retaliatory for you raising issues of discrimination and or other mistreatment like bullying, harassment, things like that. But if you in fact get put on a PIP because your manager thinks that you're not doing a good job, and then all of a sudden you decide that it's discriminatory, you're hustling backwards. And I think it's important for people to understand the differences that I've just explained, so that you can be successful in overcoming a PIP in terms of raising issues of discrimination. So I hope that this clarifies a little bit about how you should think about PIPs relevant to raising issues of discrimination, because it's coming up a lot in discovery calls and DMs and emails and so on. So I just want to make that clear, that you need to understand those distinctions that I've just explained. Oh, and don't forget, for a limited time, my online course, How to Ask for an Exit from a Discriminatory Hostile Work Environment with Cash and Actually Get It, is on sale for $199 this Black History Month. So make sure that you grab a copy so that you know what to do if you are put in a position where you feel that you're being discriminated against and you would like to leave. Make sure that you leave, but not without your coins. I hope this is helpful. This is Anne Marie, the anti-HR HR lady. HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. I am. I'll see you in the next video.